Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fun video where we chat a lot about like book goals, not even book goals, like book lists that I have made or reading challenges, things where I have set myself kind of a stack of books that I want to read for the year. So this video is really going to focus on the lists I have made for 2022. And there have been a number of them. I made a list of books that my favorite booktubers loved in 2021. I made a list of first books in series that I wanted to start the series. I also have been doing a reading challenge, and it's from Build Your Library, which is a homeschool curriculum company, which I've used in the past, and I enjoy all of her stuff. And she also has a booktube channel. So I've been following along with that specific reading challenge this year. So I'm going to share all of that. I'm going to share my progress on that, and then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about an idea I have for next year. It'll be a little bit of a spoiler chat because I want to gauge if you guys would be interested in this idea. So stick around till the end and I'll chat about that. But first, let's see how I did with all my various lists and challenges for 2022. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been coming for a while. So let's chat through how 2022 went for me. So we're going to go through three main things that I've been focusing on, that I've been bringing out when I've been doing my spinner wheel game and different things like that. So the first thing being the video I made on my favorite booktubers' favorite books from 2021, so last year. And I scooted over because I made a graphic of the 10 books that I put on that list from a variety of different people. Obviously, I'll just link the video up above if you're interested in who I highlighted. And for sure, I'm going to do this again next year because I really enjoyed it and I really enjoyed some of the books. So of these 10 books, I read 5, maybe 6. It depends on how my November ends out with Historathon, because one of these books is on my Historathon TBR. But I finished reading The Other Bennett Sister, Amari and the Night Brothers, The Book of Lost Names, Falling, Someone I Used to Know, and maybe When the World Was Ours. So that's 5 or 6 out of 10 books, which really isn't too bad. And I might read another one of these books in December, depending if it comes up on my spinner wheel game, which I'm about to play after I record this video. But Peril at End House potentially might be read in December, but all in all, not too bad. And then as I'm looking at this list, one of these books, Mask of Mirrors, I already have plans for 2022. I buddy read with my sister and we already have it scheduled for next year, so I will read that. So that only leaves 2 books that I did not read this year, so that's The Only Plane in the Sky and Crying in H Mart, which I still want to read. I'm just not really drawn to especially Crying in H Mart. I honestly just didn't want to read a book about someone with cancer. That's just it. I didn't want to read that. And then I think maybe in September I'll read The Only Plane in the Sky. So all in all, not bad. I feel like I was able to really chip away at those. And I'd say for the most part, they were awesome. Almost all of them were 5 stars. I feel like the only one that kind of I struggled with was The Book of Lost Names, but that's just because of how I was reading it and a specific character I really didn't like, which I can link some of my Friday Reads videos where I talk about that, if you're interested. So that is a list from my favorite booktubers, but I also made a list of first books in a series I wanted to start. And so here is that graphic for those books. I would say I'm about similar on how well I completed this. I was able to read 6 of these books. I read Jade City, Assassin's Apprentice, Red Rising, Scythe, Crescent City, and Alloy of Law. But I did end up unhauling Broken Earth. I finally just let it go, and I just realized that that video might come out after this video. I already filmed my fantasy unhaul video, so that's just a little spoiler for that video, but I'm unhauling that, so I'm kind of taking that off the list. So all in all, 6 out of 10 plus an unhaul, and then Darker Shades of Magic is also already slotted for a buddy read with my sister for 2023, so that's not too bad. I have just Malice and Shadow and Bone left from there, and I want to read them both. And I'm planning on sticking both of those on my spinner wheel games. We'll see if in December I'll be picking up either of those. So you'll see if you watch that one as well, because after I was looking at all these videos and all these book lists, I was re-inspired to pick them up. So December might be that time. So stay tuned for that video. So those are the two book lists videos that I made early January 2022 to kind of set the stage for this year. I like making lists. I'm like making TBRs. That is the type of reader I am. I can sometimes mood read, but I'm more of a list reader. So this works really well for me, and I think I did pretty good. And the other thing I did, like I said, is I was following a reading challenge, which I've done a variety of reading challenges in the past. There are some good ones. There's like Book Riot, Reddit, A to Z challenge. There's a lot of different book challenges. But this year I decided to just go with Emily's, and her challenge for the year was we're going on an adventure, and she had 40 different prompts, and I was actually able to fulfill 31 of the 40 prompts. So there's only 9 left, which I might try and fill some in December, but I'm not too worried. I'm proud of that. I am definitely not like I must achieve every single one, but I was able to read a lot of books based off of some of these prompts, which I think I'll just share some of those with you real quick. If you're interested, we'll go through these kind of rapid fire, but you can see how I did this. And so the first one, it was a story with magic that isn't Harry Potter. So I chose The Alloy of Law. The next one was a story set in a fantastical world. Oh my gosh, I had so many of those. But I put The Bone Shard Daughter. And then I had a portal fantasy. So I put Dark Matter for that one. And then a book with a sport or game, The Inheritance Games. That was an easy one for me. A story set in space, Red Rising, another super favorite book. And then a story about spies. So The Book of Lost Names is what I used for that prompt. And then a story set at sea. So Ship of Magic, Robin Hobb. And then a story set under the sea. And I had The House of Sky and Breath because they had a lot of mermaids involved in that story. And then a story set in a place where you always wanted to visit. And so I put Stalking Jack the Ripper, which is London, which we are tentatively planning our anniversary trip for that. It was supposed to be our 10-year anniversary, but that happened in 2021. And anyway, London. I've always wanted to go to London. The next book is a book with a map in it, and I put Assassin's Apprentice. I'm pretty sure it does. All the Robin Hobb books do. I'm pretty sure. And then a story about someone whose life is very different from yours. This one I struggled with. I put The Perfect Wife, which I disliked that book. It was by DJ Palmer. It was about a robot. That's why it's a different life than mine. And then the next one is a story about someone with superpowers, and I put Keeper of the Lost Cities. That's just a fun middle grade book. And then a book with the word adventure, journey, or quest in the title, Assassin's Quest. And then a story set during a war. I put The Lilac Girls. Oh, I thought that was an excellent World War II book. And then a book with an animal as the protagonist. I put Crazy Cat Capers, which was a book I read aloud to my kids, which is usually where I get animal protagonists from. And then a memoir or biography about a fascinating person. I put The Women of Chateau Lafayette. Technically, it's historical fiction. I know that. And I am currently reading it. But I have been going down so many rabbit trails to learn about Lafayette that it's just been really, really fascinating. Okay. A book with a sword, dagger, or shield on the cover. I put Crown of Midnight, a little Sarah J. Maas. And then a book where someone travels around the world. I put Ona Out of Order. That was a really good one too. And then a book you would bring with you on a desert island. That was hard. I mean, I loved The Secret History, but I feel like the Bible would probably be my honest answer to that. And then a new release you are excited about, The House Across the Lake. I was super excited about, and I read it, and I still liked it. Okay, and then a mystery or thriller, and I put In the Woods by Tana French. And then a new book by a favorite author is The Final Gambit. Oh my gosh, I love that whole trilogy, which I just heard that there's more books coming out. There's more books. And then a book about camping or summer camp. All right, so for this one, I put Harry Potter #7 because I actually reread it. My son gave it to me one day and I was like, I should reread it. And they camp like half the time. So it's not really about summer camp, but that's what I decided to use. And then a story that has been adapted into a movie or television show. We also read out loud Artemis Fowl, so that was a good one. And then a book with the word lost in the title, The Lost Girls of Paris. I didn't like that one. And then a book that you've always wanted to read. I have been wanting to read the Scythe series by Neil Shusterman for so long. So I was glad I got that one, and I still want to continue with it. And then a story about immigrants. So I just read this one, The Luck of the Titanic. And then a genre you don't normally read is contemporary. And so someone I used to know is on there. And then a book by a debut author. And I think Amari and the Night Brothers falls into that. But Ruin of Kings also, I think, falls into that. And then a book recommended by someone famous is the guest list, because it was a Reese Witherspoon book. And then a book with a beautiful cover. And I put Falling for that one. So that's 31 books. I know that was kind of rapid fire. But the fun part about all of that is I realized I had some absolute favorites in that. There was some so-so, but for the most part, 2022 has been an amazing reading year. So that's a wrap up on my challenge and the book list I put together for myself. But it got my wheels going for potentially running a reading challenge for next year. And so this idea has really come out of a number of comments you all have made about the idea of wanting to connect more, especially like homeschool moms who also love to read, who love science, who love faith, all these kinds of things that I am just passionate about. I have had a number of you comment that you would just love to sit and chat and have coffee. And I feel the same way. I feel like I would like a more meaningful connection in some way. And I was thinking of maybe creating a reading challenge, a very minor one, not like 50 prompts or anything like that, but more of on the lines of like maybe 2 a month, one nonfiction, one fiction book that we could kind of do together potentially, and not necessarily read the same books, but we could, especially the fiction books, but more to have a platform where we could share on the books that we're really interested in, whether they be a homeschool book you just picked up, or whether it be a book about homemaking, or a book about science or faith, or whatever it is that you are passionate about reading, that we could have a community where we could share that kind of stuff. And the structure starts with like a reading challenge we're somewhat doing together. So I'm tossing that idea around. Let me know down below if that is kind of a community you are potentially interested in, because I'm always saying like I want to be able to just really chat about some of these books in a more than me just talking to a camera, but maybe on a different platform. Honestly, I'm still working on assessing if it's the right season for something like that for me, because if I'm going to do it, I want to do it well. But I'm excited about that idea, you guys. And so I wanted to share that with this video, and I want to hear from you. One, if that idea is interesting, but two, do you guys make lists? Do you follow a reading challenge? Which ones do you participate in, and how is it going? How's 2022 going? Have you been able to check off some of those things? As long as it's still fun. I feel like it should never be stressful, but how is that going for you? Let me know down below. And otherwise, that is what I have for this video. I hope you guys liked it. And if you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you want to. But otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next video. All right, take care.